Yes, guys, welcome to our today's class. As you know, this is our lesson number 3. Yes, you can see my face. I'm very tired. I came from the campus, but as it's my duty to assist you guys, so I'm obliged to record this today's video, right? So I just came now from the campus, guys. So I'm very tired, but because it's my duty, I have to do something for you today. So we are going to continue with our lesson number 3. Remember, guys, this is CCNA 2, specially designed for security and wireless configurations. So the whole ideas of CCNA 2, it's all about security and wireless. So you are learning how to secure network devices and how to configure and secure wireless devices. So, and for that, remember my email address is below and my WhatsApp number. So if you wanna get free registration to Cisco courses, you need just to WhatsApp me or send me an email address. So if I don't respond, definitely 1 or 2 days, I will still come back to you. So wherever you are free to contact me and to register. So, and for those learners who are still behind with some of the lessons, please, you need to complete your lessons very fast. All right? Okay, let's start. Guys, today we do have a very easy lesson, right? Very easy, but very important. All right? So what we are going to be doing today, we are going to talk about a lesson that is very easy for you to understand, but it's very important. From this particular lesson, you are going to see a difference between a junior technician or a junior engineer and a senior engineer, all right? So this particular lesson, as I said, it's very easy, but very practical, all right? So we are going to talk about networks, but the networks that we are going to talk today is not a physical network. We are going to talk about virtual networks, right? So, and you are going to see why you need a virtual networks and how a virtual network can help your organizations and how can you do it like in reality. You got your wireless access point. How can you go to your wireless access point? How can you create virtual networks and why you have to do so? You got your routers, you got your switches, especially switches. How can you go to your switch and create virtual networks? We don't just define. We are defining, we are explaining, and we go to the labs. We go to the practicals and we do it, all right? So I'm gonna try to share my screen and we are going to start. Okay. So as you know, we're talking about virtual networks. Okay. I will not make it a bit big. Yes. Again. Yeah. So we are talking about virtual networks, right? But before even moving further, you need to understand the concept of switches. You know what is a switch, right? A switch is a network device that allows you to connect other devices. So it's a network device that will allow you to connect other devices. So you have a switch, you're going to connect printers, cameras, like other computers, laptops, and so on, all right? Now, guys, the most important point is here. When you have a switch, right, what does it mean? It means you have one network. So one switch means one network, one family. Even if you have multiple switches like connected, you still have one network. You understand? So you can have one switch, you plug maybe 20 computers, you still create one physical network. You can have 100 switches, you connect them, and you connect 1,000 of computers to those switches, you still have one network. You understand? You still have one physical network. So, and when you have one physical network, you are going to have issues, right? So one physical network, you are going to have issues, right? So junior technicians will just bring like computers, switches, they connect, they punch the IPs, and the network is up and running. For them, it's over. But for you specialists, you need to understand that you cannot just bring a wireless access point or switches, you connect users and you are done. Means you only have one network. So, and for that particular network, you are going to have problems, right? So one network, so it's like one family, right? Remember guys, one family, it's like again one house. It means you have just a house, one house. Now guys, see this. You have a house, right? And inside your house, you got rooms, right? What's gonna be the problem when you have a house and you got so many rooms inside, right? Problem number one, you are going to have security issues. Security problem. Why? Because I can see your room. You can see my room. It's so easy for you to come inside my home because we are sharing the same house. So one network, one family, one house, it's a problem. It's a security problem. It's so easy for my computer to move to your computer. It's so easy for this laptop to move to this phone because we are sharing the same network, the same family, the same house. You understand? This is problem number one. So that this must be in your mind. So when you have one network, you are going to have security problems. You understand? Security problems means that it's so easy for one phone to move to another phone. Why? Because we are using one wireless access point. We are all connected to it. When we are connected to a single device, means that logically there are already some of the communications that is happening between those devices, right? So security issue when you are dealing with one network, one family, one house, or switches. And you as a specialist, you need to avoid this. You need to avoid. How you are going to avoid this? For you to avoid, you are going to create virtual networks, right? You can call it VLANs, virtual local area networks. You understand? So for you to avoid those security issues, you need to create virtual networks, virtual LAN on top of that physical device. So when you see a wireless access point, like in your mind, you can create virtual networks. And when they ask you why you need virtual networks, because you want to secure the communications, right? Number two, management issues, right? So guys, when you have switches, like everybody is connected to that particular switch or to those particular switches, what's going to happen? It's going to be very difficult for you to manage the devices, right? So you are going to have like thousands of devices that are connected to your wireless access point. How are you going to control them? How are you going to manage them, right? There is no order, there is no logic behind. You are going to have management problems, right? For you to avoid that, you can create virtual networks. You understand the logic? So to avoid, you need virtual LANs or virtual local area networks. Understand? So problem number one, security. Problem number two, management. Problem number three, speed, guys. When we are sharing same family, same house, it's a problem when it comes to speed, because you are talking, I'm talking, my mother is talking, my father is talking. Sometimes the other people, they cannot listen properly because we are sharing the same house. It's the same with devices connected to the network. So when you are connected to the same device, the same switch, the same wireless access point, you're going to create noise. Those devices are communicating somehow, right? Data moving between those devices. So if they are wireless, data moving using waves, and because of that, your network will be slow. You understand? So to avoid, again, you need to create virtual networks, virtual LANs, virtual local area networks, right? So I don't want to go too far. So what you need to understand, what you need to master for today, you need to understand this. When I have switches, yeah, for sure, I can connect my devices to that particular switch or to those particular switches. But I'm going to have problems because no matter how many switches I'm connecting, I'm using only one network, one family, one house. What's going to happen? Number one, I can have management issues, right? Because I have so many devices, one house, but there are so many people inside. How am I going to deal with them? How am I going to control them? Because the house is packed, right? It's packed. There is no order. The other people, they are sleeping on the floor. The other people are sleeping maybe in the toilet, right? Number two, we spoke about security, right? There is no security when we are sharing a house, right? Because you can see my room, even if I can put a lock, you can see the lock is there, you can see my window. So it's so easy for you to come inside. So when devices are connected using a single switch or multiple switches or one wireless access point, it's a problem, security problem. Remember, guys, when you are connected to a particular wireless access point, to a switch, to a router, even though you don't send messages, that action for you to be connected means there are already some connection that is happening. You understand? And number three, speed problems. The network will be slow because you are keeping all your devices using same switches, one network. The speed is going to be a problem. So I give you an example. You have a house. I'm talking like in my room. You are talking, you are playing music, you are doing this. So sometimes you cannot listen to what other people are saying, right? So, and the speed of communication will be poor. This is the meaning. Because when you connect devices to switches, to routers, to wireless access point, to modem, to wherever, right, means you're going to have security problems. So to avoid all these things, you need to create virtual local area networks. And remember, a network that is well designed must have a VLAN, must have virtual networks. The only place you cannot have a virtual network is a small internet cafe, small. But there are so many people who cannot understand this notion. There are so many companies that don't understand about VLANs, they don't use it. What they know, they put computers, they put switches, they got wireless access point and so on. They are connected to the internet, to wherever, and they start doing their businesses. Understand? But there is no medium or large networks without VLANs, right? And it's, you know, when you are writing a CV, you are looking a job as a network engineer or a system support or whatever. When you are talking about your skills, it sounds nice when you talk about VLANs, that I know how to create VLANs, I know how to manage VLANs, I know maybe I know how to delete VLANs, all those kind of skills. Those are the skills companies want to hear from you, right? So let's go now to practicals. I will show you how you can do it. It's very easy, straightforward. But remember, I always tell you guys, there is no need to memorize the steps, because steps, you can get them from the internet. You can get them from wherever. Nobody will come and say, hey, why are you fixing the network and you are checking your phone? All right? So the steps are not the problems, because we're going to still get them. But the reason why, this is what you have to internalize. This is what you need to understand, why I have to do so. Understand? This is what is very, very important for you. So let's go now to practicals. Okay. They're asking me to log in here. What am I going to do here? Okay, let me take the old packet tracer. I don't know if it's going to work. My packet tracer got. I'm going to use the old versions. I don't know if it's going to be fine, but I know I'm sure you can see what I'm doing, but it's the old versions. I'm just waiting it to be okay, but say it's very small. Okay, what we're going to do, we are going to drag and drop like a switch there. Maybe I can drag and drop maybe 3 switches, and maybe 3 computers. And I'm gonna try to separate them just to show that they are in different floors or different locations. What I'm gonna do, just come here. Okay. I have a problem with this version of my packets. Tracer. It's very old, this one, so sometimes I cannot see properly. I'm just trying to make it a bit big, my screen. Okay. So I said you come there, draw. Okay. I cannot even see. Ish. I don't understand if the color can even show up. Draw a rectangle. Okay, I have a problem with my packet tracer, but you guys must put different colors, right? We can keep them with my colors here, but normally it's not the color that I wanted, right? Okay, now what you're gonna do, you can put some notes here. Okay, let's say this is floor 1, and we can call it like HR. So HR people are working on this floor. This one, it's floor 2. Maybe it's marketing. Marketing guys are working here. And this one, it's floor 1. It's finance guys who are working here. All right. So you got the computers, right? So for each floor, you got offices, right? But floor number 3, you can say it's HR. Floor number 2, maybe it's marketing people, marketing department. And floor number 1, it's finance. The question that must come in your mind, guys, when you wanna design a network, right? You have always to ask how many departments this company has, right? How many departments? Like here, you can see we do have 3 departments. We have finance, marketing, and HR. Means that this company got 3 departments. Logically, it's according to you, the network designer, for you guys. Now you said, okay, I have 3 departments. So means that I can divide them in 3 different networks, right? So there are 3 departments, so you can make them in 3 different networks. Those 3 different networks, those are the virtual networks, VLANs, virtual local area networks, right? Why you wanna keep them in 3 different networks? Because of speed, you wanna have fast communications. You wanna make your network secured, and you wanna manage them better, all right? So if you create virtual networks here, guys, what's gonna happen? It's going to be hard for a guy from HR department to communicate with the guy from marketing because you separate them, right? And you can assign different speed, like internet speed, according to their department. Some of the departments don't require higher speed, like internet or whatever, right? How are you gonna do that? How are you gonna manage all those things? So what we're gonna do, let's connect those three switches. Let's just run our cables. You're gonna take a straight runner. I got issues with my screen today, but anyway, I know you guys, you're already good, you can see. Okay, you run your cables and yeah, basically you go to each office, you plug your cable, you go where there is a switch, you plug. This is what basically we are doing, right? Now you are done with your cabling. Let's go to IPs. You're gonna give them the IPs, right? I don't know this look, huh? It's very big. Okay, desktop, like IP. Yeah. It's very small. Okay, but I know you're gonna see it's 192.168.1.2. This is what I'm gonna punch here. .1.2. You can press tab so that the subnet mask can come automatically. And when you are done, you go to the next computer. You do the same desktop IP 192.168.1.3. You press tab. You go to number 3, the last one. You do the same. 192.168.1.4. You press tab. When you are done, you can test the connectivity. You go to command prompts. We can ping one of them. .1.1.3. You can see they can talk, right? Why they can talk? Because they're still in the same network. We never split them. We never created virtual networks. We never created department yet, right? And the task for today, the lesson of today is to teach you how to create those departments. So now what we're gonna do, you go to every switch, right? You know how to access, you go to CLI and you press enter. You know how to proceed, right? Remember, always use the question mark when you don't know something, and you can also use the tab to complete. You are not obliged to type like everything enabled. No, you can just type EN and you press tab, right? So when you press tab, means it's going to complete the missing part, you see? And you press enter. The configure terminal, right? Sometimes you can just type CON and you press tab. So if it's not showing, you can add F, you press tab, you can see, they'll tell you it's configure. So when you forgot the other part, it's T, you press tab. You see the terminal will come and you press what? Enter, right? So from here now, guys, you need to create those departments. Remember, this company got 3 departments: marketing, finance, and HR. If that particular department got a 10 department, you have to do so. Nobody will tell you, right? Nobody knows about these separations or whatever. You need to understand the company. It's you who are going to observe, you ask, right? You're gonna ask like the HR, like how many department you have here and so on. They don't know about VLANs. For them, the network must be there. They don't know nothing about all those things, right? So how to create VLANs? This is the main question. First, let's check. We exit first. We are going to verify. So if those departments exists like already. Show VLANs. So you are asking the switch, please, can I see your current configuration? What are the virtual networks you have? This is the meaning of show VLANs. When you press enter, okay, oh, I forgot. Okay, show VLAN. Okay. So when you type show VLAN, the switch will show you what is inside its database. A switch got a database. This database, we call it a MAC like address table, right? So your switch will have a database. That database will keep all the departments, all the VLANs. You understand? Like here, you can see column number 1, VLANs. You can see there is no marketing, there is no finance because we never created it yet. You can see the name, it's just the default that is there. You can see the status of this VLAN 1, like it's active. And all the ports, they are members of this VLAN. So by default, your switch will come with a VLAN number 1. We call it a default VLAN. The status is active, and all the ports are going to belong first to that VLAN. Means what? Any computer you're going to plug will go to this family, VLAN 1. Now let's create, right? For you to create, you must go to privilege mode. Le conf T, you press enter. Very easy, guys. You just say VLAN. First, you give it a number, right? For now, you must pick up a number less than 500 or less than 100. Don't go far. I can say VLAN 10. You press enter, right? When you say VLAN 10, now you must give it a name. You're going to say name HR. So very easy. You just say VLAN, you give it an ID number. You give it a number, VLAN 100. Name, you put the name of the department and you press enter, right? So if you want to check it from here, you can just say do show VLAN. Remember, show VLAN, you can use it wherever, like in each mode, but you must start with do show VLAN. When you press do show VLAN, right, means you are asking the switch to show you what is like inside its database. You can see here, VLAN colon. There is the VLAN 1, the one that comes by default, and there is VLAN 10, the one that you created. The name of the VLAN 1, it's default, and what you created, it's what? It's HR. You can see it's active, but there is no key assigned to this house, right? There is no port that is assigned yet to these virtual networks, right? You can press enter again. You can exit. Let's exit. We're going to create another one. We can call it VLAN 20. You press enter. You must give it a name. Which name? Finance. You press enter. So it means you create another department and you give it a name. Now we're going to check. Do show VLAN. You press enter. You go again like inside this database, like an Excel sheet. You have columns and rows. First column is the VLAN name, virtual network's name. You can see there's 1. The name is default. It's active. And all the ports, they are members of this VLAN. The second one, it's VLAN 10 that you created. What is the name? It's HR. And the status is active. And you create again the second one, you create it. It's VLAN 20. And the name is finance. Sometimes users cannot communicate because maybe that particular computer belongs to a wrong VLAN, a wrong network. You as a specialist now, you go to like a particular computer, that computer cannot print, that computer cannot access the server or maybe a website or a database. Now you have to know, maybe it's a wrong network, right? Maybe that computer like is plugged to a wrong port. Understand? So that port maybe belongs to the HR, but that computer, that port was set to be connected to management maybe, right? So how are you gonna check it? You just go to the switch, you try to check. Somebody can call you, hey, please, I'm not connected. You just go to the switch, you ask, do show VLAN. From there, now you have to understand, you're gonna just look at the database, you say, no, this column shows me the virtual networks on this device. The second column show me the name. And the third column showing me so if those virtual networks, they're activated or they are deactivated. And the last column will show me what are the ports that belongs to this VLAN, VLAN 10 or VLAN 20. Okay, let's create the last one. We exit first. VLAN maybe 50, and we call it what? It was marketing. Okay, let me just call it marketing. And you press like enter. Oh, no, name. You must always say name. Marketing. And when you're done, you can check your configurations. Do show VLAN. Enter. You can see marketing is here. Right? Very easy, guys. This is how to create VLANs. Right? Next time I can show you how you can do it from the graphical user interface. But remember, the graphical user interface most is for junior guys, right? So for you specialists, you must always go to command lines, CLI, do your work, because CLI got more power, more privileges when it comes to configurations, and it's very fast. And so there's so many benefits when you're going to CLI, right? So this is how to create VLANs, guys. So as per today, when you are practicing, wherever you are going, any task you are getting from your job, you need to understand that when I'm dealing with switches, when I'm dealing with routers, wireless access point, so I must always know that it's better to have different networks, like different virtual networks, like in order for me to control my devices properly. Like here, you have HR, you have finance, you have marketing. So I will show you how you can assign specific port to a department. Like HR, you can assign from port number 1 to port number 5. They belong to HR. From port number 6 to port number 10, they belong to finance, and so on. You can even sleep at home. Whoever is going to plug his computer to port number 1, automatically the switch will direct him to HR, right? And it's now much easier for you to talk to those departments than talking to a single device or a single user, right? Now, let's see now how we can separate them now, right? Let's see how we're gonna take some of the port, like assign them to specific VLANs, because we don't want them to talk, right? So this is what we are going to be doing, like on the next video. That's gonna be, so this video is just like a short one. Let me show you how we can delete a VLAN. For you to delete a VLAN, very easy. Just, you must start by no VLAN 10. You press enter. And when you're gonna check, do show VLAN, that VLAN is not there. You can see number 10 is not there because you took it out. So like anything you're gonna take out, suppose like you punch it an IP address. For you to take that IP address, you must say no space like IP address. This is how to remove a configuration, a wrong configuration. So if you want to remove another one, you can just say no VLAN 20, you press enter, right? For you to check again, do show VLAN, you can see like 20 is out, right? So this entire week, it's all about VLANs, right? It's all about VLANs. So if you did your CCNA programs, so if you want yourself to upskill your knowledge, to move from junior positions to a senior position, VLANs, it's something that you need to master, something that you must always talk about, something that you must put on your CVs. This is one of the lessons that splits junior to senior, right? From this lesson, this is where the separations will start. So this concept, we don't discuss this concept with junior technicians. Junior technicians run the cables, punch the IPs, go and check what's going on there, like create user accounts, delete, do this, finish, right? They don't go to a higher level. So what I'm going to tell you guys, start practicing whatever you are doing, create VLANs, delete them, and so on. As this entire week, we are going to be doing VLANs, VLANs, VLANs. So that when we're going to reach Friday, we're going to be done with VLANs, and we're going to be done with 3 lessons, and Saturday you're going to write your checkpoint exam for those 3 chapters, right? So guys, I'm sure that this lesson was very clear, right? You can forget like everything, but the most important part is when you are dealing with networks, you must always create virtual networks. What does it mean? It means when you are dealing with switches creates one network, and that network, it's going to be a problem, speed problem, management problem, security issues. To avoid that, you must always go for virtual networks. That will allow you to do so, right? Now, when you go to switches, how to create them, I'm going to show you from the wireless access point, from the graphical user like interface, but next time. Remember, the best network devices in the world, they are Cisco devices. If you know the Cisco devices, all those small vendors, they just copied some of the things. Most of the things they are doing is just like a copy of what they stole or what they got from Cisco, right? So if you know how to deal with these devices, means you know the higher level devices. Those other vendors, they are just less than those performance devices, right? And remember, you can only do this with a manageable switches, what we discussed already when we've been doing CCNA 1, right? You cannot do all those things with a unmanageable switch, right? That way you must always go for manageable switches. Thank you very much. And like always share your screenshots when you are done with some of the lessons, when you are done with your practicals. Do share with me. You got my WhatsApp number. My WhatsApp number is below. You send me your screenshot so that I can see how you progress. Thank you very much. See you next time.